everybody. How are you? Boy, yes. Oh my gosh, we are dog sitting Stella, our grand dog. Oh, and Stella is old. And Stella just ate. And so Stella grabbed some of Aldo's food. So, something different. And so Stella is lying below me. And you are glad that this is not a smellathon station. Oh my God. Stella. Hi, Janice. Hi, Gloria. Janice, I watched you on Tish's. That was so cool. That evergreen rainforest green combination was just beautiful. Hi, Deirdre. Nice to see you here. Oh, and yes, Gloria's here. Angie's here. Ooh la la. You like that? Ooh la la. I love that. I found that and it has the KeyPen It Reel in it, which, is the name of this. It's like keeping it real through story and art. I think that's kind of how this channel is morphing into. And yeah, so fun. I hope everybody's had a delightful fine Friday. I have been in that 3-day virtual conference. Tish was in it. My brain was checking in and out today at certain times. But I took notes on some things that stuck with me for right now. And then I'll go over those and then they'll come back with the all access pass and I'll re-record and listen to some that I wrote to myself, listen to this one later. Because it was more about technical sometimes or some things like that, and not things that right now are a priority. I've kind of got where I'm got to. I'm out of focus though, and see if I can reach far enough. Oops. See, I don't have long enough arms for my autofocus. Oh my goodness. Let me text my husband. Hang on, I need oh my goodness. My arms are just not long enough from the autofocus button on my DSLR. Oh, flip. There we go. Oh. Oh, I have to tell him. This is funny. So he's upstairs. I could yell, but I don't think that would be such a good idea. Where's it? Oh, there. Oh, focus. Okay, I'll tell him that. So until then, just pretend like you've had a lot of wine and I'm a little fuzzy. And probably when we straighten it up for the story, because the story will be in fine focus, it's just my arms are just... I have my 5D Mark III. Like I said, I pulled her out and because I couldn't give her up. And I put my nifty 50 on it, which is a really inexpensive Canon lens that I've had for ages. But it's a 50 millimeter, so it's not very wide angle. And so I have to have the camera back a little further. Well, I'm 5'11", almost, well, shrinking a little bit, but I have a 6'3" wingspan. So I have really freaking long arms and I should be able to reach this, but I can't. Oh my gosh, I don't think he's read the message yet. He just brought me dinner. So, oh well, we'll deal. I'll scoot up. Maybe if I scoot up a little bit. There, I'm a little more in focus. We'll just get close and intimate. So tonight's story is one by a local author named Nina Laden. And here he comes to the rescue. My fine focused friend. There we go. Yay. Now they don't think they've had 4 glasses of wine. Oh my goodness. Anyway, Nina Laden lives in Seattle sometimes and on Lummi Island other parts of the time. Her website is in my description, but she has won awards. She's an author, illustrator. She has some of her art on her. Let's see if I can find it. Go to here. Maybe, nope, not that one. Maybe go to this one. There, oh, that's maybe if I do screen share, unlock that. And if I can go to screen share, maybe, maybe not. I wonder if that's got all kinds of stuff. Anyway, I should have planned that better to show you that. Anyway, she has books that she's written and illustrated. She has artwork available on her website. So she speaks at schools. She's gone all over the place. She's won awards. Just a really beautiful artist. I have several of the night I followed the dog, and a couple other books of hers that I have in there that I love. But tonight we're going all out with the art, and that is because we have one of her books that is not only a illustrated and written by her, but it's kind of an art history book, so to speak. We could, well, for a stretch. Yeah, let's see who else is here. Julie's here. Oh, all right. Don't worry about yeah, I'm not sure about that with eCam. Usually, like when I do eCam stuff, and we're doing things, nobody ever cares about top chat or live chat through eCam. I'm not sure what the thing does, but Joanne's here, Janice is here, Gloria's here, Julie E's here. Yay! Oh my goodness. Look at this crowd. This is wonderful. Yeah, okay. I've had apple crown. What's going on with that? Okay. My comments aren't popping up. Oh well. Who knows? I have somewhat maxed out my computer system. I think I mentioned it. It's last night it froze. You know how it froze? Well, it kept going. I had to reboot my computer twice before I was able to go in and actually stop it. So like probably the last 5 minutes of the video, if you went back and looked at it, me going, oh well, that doesn't matter. It's fine. Hey Helen, how are you? I sent you a message in somebody else's thing. Is the fog rolled in up there on Whidbey? Man, South Sound, I watched it. I did 2 YouTube shorts, you guys, to show you the clouds that they were sitting on there. And Helen lives in Hanakawalani Creations, lives probably just due north of me up on Whidbey Island, probably by about 50 miles or maybe probably more than that. But she's right up there. My best friend lives up there on Whidbey, and to get from Helen to get to me, she could just take the Port Townsend ferry and drive down along the peninsula to here, and that's the same way I could get to her. Have to cross the Hood Canal Bridge, but not a big deal. What happened? What happened to you? Oh, your live chat works on your PC but not on your phone? Weird. You know, there's all kinds of crazy things that go on, and so we're just gonna roll with them because yep, very cool. It's so nice to have all you guys here today. It was sunny. Yeah, it was sunny, and then this evening, just as I thought we were going to get this cool sunset, I looked out and I looked across to Harstein Island and to Johnson Point, and you could just see the top of the evergreen trees. And then in the channel that goes down towards Shelton, which is total South Sound, there was a thick cloud sitting on the water, and then it just rolled in toward us. It was so cool. Oh, yeah. We've had terrible landslides. Terrible landslides. They have had, as my husband said, he's been driving in this area for 56 years, and we've never experienced this kind of stuff in the passes for where all the passes, and you couldn't get around the state and stuff like that. White Pass, they had to clear out a boulder that was huge, and it's just nuts. And then all the rain, it got really warm today, so things are melting everywhere. Oh, cool. Oh, yeah. We have really amazing rescue people up here in the Northwest. So, all right. Off the cliff. Yeah, did you on Perkins Lane? Did you see that, Helen, about the house that fell off the cliff? That was right next to my husband's guy he used to work for lives on Perkins Lanes, but Merritt lives on the water side, and this cliff was up above, right underneath Discovery Park. Oh my gosh, yeah, it's this was in Seattle. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, well, are you ready for a story? I'm gonna have a sip of water, and we're gonna get a really accurate rendition of two very famous painters. Yeah, see my serious face. Very accurate historical rendition of the life of Picasso when Pigasso met Mootisse. Yeah. When Pigasso met Mootisse. So maybe you have crayons or paper with you and you can see these things, but my images at the beginning, we'll go back and look at them, what I did with them to make them look like this. But When Picasso Met Mootisse by Nina Laden. Let me get this here. There you go. All right. Oh, we've got the whole book in. I love these pictures. The bright colors. To Gretchen, friendship is a work of heart. 1999. I love it. Nina's something else. There once was a young pig named Pigasso. While the other piglets rolled in the mud and played games, Pigasso painted. He painted anything and everything, and in a most unusual way. There we go. Oh, light, that's better. At the same time, there once was a young bull named Mootisse. Mootisse was not like other bulls. He wasn't interested in bullfighting. Mootisse was happy only when he painted pictures, and he painted big, bold, bright pictures. In time, word of Picasso's talents spread throughout the pig provinces. Soon, art-loving pigs from all over lined up to buy his creations. At the same time, Mootisse was getting famous in the cattle community. There weren't many households that didn't own a Mootisse-piece. Pigasso and Mootisse were becoming art superstars. But this came with a price. Everybody wanted to see them. Art buyers, art sellers, and students, art historians, art groupies. It was an art attack. One day, Pigasso got fed up and said, "I'm tired of this noisy pig pen." And at the same time, Mootisse declared, "I'm sick of the crowded cow town." Needing to change, they both decided to look for a peaceful place where they could paint without distractions. So each of the two artists looked far and wide for the perfect spot. Pigasso found a lovely farm looking towards the east. Mootisse found a handsome farm facing west. After Pigasso moved in, he went to introduce himself to his new neighbor across the road. At the same time, Mootisse went to introduce himself to his new neighbor across the road. And that is how Pigasso met Mootisse. And coincidentally, that is how Mootisse met Pigasso. Now, at first, Picasso and Mootisse were friendly, and they welcomed each other as neighbors. But soon things began to change. It started one day when Pigasso criticized one of Mootisse's paintings. Then Mootisse made fun of one of Picasso's. Mootisse called Pigasso an art hog, while Picasso called Mootisse a mad cow. Now, Mootisse quipped, "You paint like a 2-year-old. Picasso retorted, "You paint like a wild beast." Mootisse raged, "Your colors look like mud." Picasso spat, "Your paintings look like color by numbers." Oh. Then things got really bad. It was a modern art mess. Oh, Pigasso stormed off into his house. "That Mootisse doesn't like my art," he huffed. "Well, I'll show him." My light just went out. Oh, it's not plugged in. That's why. We'll try a different one. Here. And Mootisse bullied his way into his house. I'll give that Picasso something he can really criticize," he snorted. Then a full-scale feud erupted. But it was a most unusual battle. Armed with ladders and buckets of paint, Mootisse launched the first attack. He started at dawn. By the end of the evening, he had succeeded in transforming the art of his house into a monster-size moosterpiece. Not to be outdone, Pigasso fired up his paintbrushes and, in full view of the enemy, counterattacked. He turned his farm into a huge and outrageous pork of art. Now, the two artists then retreated into their houses and pulled down the shades. Pigasso certainly didn't want to look out his window and stare at Mootisse, and Mootisse had no desire to give his rooms a view of Pigasso. This presented a problem, and there seemed to be only one solution. Without a word to each other, Pigasso and Mootisse each began to build a huge wooden fence down the middle of their road. At first, Pigasso and Mootisse seemed satisfied. Both artists went back to painting by themselves. But after a while, Pigasso was surprised to find that he missed that bull-headed Mootisse. And at the same time, Mootisse found his studio empty without the presence of pig-headed Picasso. Picasso pondered, that Mootisse isn't such a bad artist. He has some interesting ideas. Mootisse moaned, "That Picasso may not paint like me, but he knows what he's doing." However, being naturally pig-headed and bull-headed, neither artist knew how to apologize to the other. So they did what they do best. They let their paintbrushes do the talking. Pigasso painted on one side of the fence, and Mootisse painted on the other. Each worked until they were exhausted. It was strangely quiet when they were done. Then, curious to see what Mootisse had been doing, Picasso sprinted around to the other side, and at the same time, Mootisse galloped over to Picasso's side. The silence was broken as the two artists began laughing at their amazing works of art. From that day on, Picasso and Mootisse became great friends. They happily took down the fence and shared their different views. A few months later, a big museum bought the fence. Pigasso called his side "When Picasso Met Mootisse." Mootisse called his side "When Mootisse Met Picasso." The critics called it incredible. It's a very accurate rendition of the relationship between Picasso and Mootisse. Well, not quite. Let's see what you guys have to say. They even drew the correct style canvas for the time, and it lacks that on the outer edge, not the back. Yeah, I know, isn't it? Isn't Nina is just amazing as an artist on what they did. If you haven't seen the documentary that was done with Antonio Banderas playing Picasso, oh my gosh, it's amazing. But so you may know this, you guys may all know this pretty well, but Picasso and Mootisse were not a pig and a bull, surprise, but they were characters. They were two of the finest artists of the 20th century. When they were never neighbors, they became close in the small world of art. Henri Mootisse was born on December 31st in 1869 in France. Mootisse didn't want to be an artist when he was little. He studied to be a lawyer. But when he was 21, he got sick with appendicitis. While he was getting better, he painted his first painting. He liked painting so much that he ended his law career. Now, Pablo Picasso was born on October 25th of 1881 in Spain. His father was an art teacher who helped Picasso start painting when he was very young. It was soon obvious that he was very talented. Picasso studied painting in Barcelona and Madrid. But as he was growing up as an artist, Picasso decided to move to Paris, which was and still is a great city for art. This is where Picasso met Mootisse. Both Picasso and Mootisse were gaining recognition as artists in Paris. In fact, this is where it's cool. I think the American aspect comes in. In fact, two Americans named Leo and Gertrude Stein, who lived there, started collecting their parent paintings. In 1906, Gertrude Stein had a party, and that is where Picasso and Mootisse met for the first time. At first, Picasso and Mootisse were friendly to each other. They even traded paintings. Mootisse also gave Picasso an African mask, which inspired him to paint in a primitive style, a style that he became very famous for. But soon it became apparent that Picasso and Mootisse were becoming rivals and competitors. Picasso said some bad things about Matisse's paintings, and Mootisse said some bad things about Picasso's. But over time, the two artists learned to respect each other and became lifelong friends. They both owned many of each other's paintings. Mootisse once told Picasso, "We must talk to each other as much as we can. When one of us dies, There will be some things the other will never be able to talk of with anyone else. Matisse died in 1954. Picasso died in 1973. But their art lives on in many museums, galleries, and private collections around the world. I just love this. I just love this. If you get a chance to watch that documentary, it was done over several shows, but it really went into that whole relationship and how that art time in Paris that Gertrude Stein was part of, and how the relationship with Picasso and Matisse was this kind of adversarial, great friendship. Though they would tease each other. They would come and Picasso went to see Matisse shortly before he died, and was one of the last people to see him. Picasso I also find fascinating because one of his, I'm not sure if she ever married him or was just one of his many mistresses, was a very well-known female photographer, and that was one of the difficulties the two of them had. She started to gain some notoriety, and he didn't like her getting attention. It's just a very interesting type of thing with the historical aspect of those two. But for a way to introduce kids to this kind of art is just too much fun. One of the things that can be done, I got my little squares again. So I love this whole idea with the bright colors that they did. And Picasso is one of those kind of people that you can do lines and just change things out. And as you change them, you can then do all the kind of wacky things, like there would have been maybe an eye that went this way and another one over here, and a foot here, one that went backwards. A tail could come. And then what Nina did was the addition of all these wonderful kind of colors and making angular type things. And oh, it's got a little. There we go. So you would take, like, really just this. These are my grandkids have these kind of cool crayons that are the big chalky ones. And what I didn't do last night when I did crayons is the cool thing about crayons is if you take them and the little kind of little tiny bits, little, I'm just using a marker. And it's just kind of a fun thing to do, just look at shapes and different kind of aspects of it, and then the colors. They don't have to fit at all. But you could do a character like this in along the outlines like that, in the style of Picasso type aspect with kids. And take an eraser. Nothing like an eraser over crayon to mute it out. So if I wanted to put it in, say, where is that end one? That's Picasso style. And then this is Mootisse style, which would have kind of a more pastoral type thing. So you could combine the two of them. I think it's just kind of fun. And then, so what you end up with is when you do that with crayon, then you go over it with an eraser and you smooth it all out. So kind of see. So I could do a Picasso type aspect with a Matisse background, like the Matisse. Those kind of things that he does, his paint splotches and stuff all around. And then it gives me something to doodle with and draw and play and just mess around with. That's why I like these little size pieces of paper, because I can just doodle and play. And coloring is just, you can sit and watch, you can sit and watch fluid art. You can sit and watch TV or any kind of things, and just with a set of crayons. And yeah, so Gretchen, this was what was in my stocking. I had this thing for big pencils because I taught first grade for so long, and I love these big fat pencils, and everybody else seems to love them in my family too because they always disappear from, and so I find them out in the garage or at my sister's house, and so I'm like, ah. So I asked Santa for new pencils. So for Christmas in my stocking, there was an entire box of these big Ticonderoga's big fat pencils. They're so much fun, and you can do such kind of nice shading with them. I love working with these guys. And then on this kind of paper, you can rub it around. Get your fingers good and dirty. See? Anyway, gotta run for a bit. Sparky needs help. Oh, okay. Sure, Julie, we're finishing up anyway. Thanks, Julie, for being here. I appreciate it. I just wanted to share this this book. I think it's a really, really wonderful book. And if you get a chance, go to Nina's website. You'll see some of her artwork and some of her other books too. They're just fun. So when Pigasso met Mootisse and they created works of the heart, I think that's what we have. Yep. works of the heart for all of us. It's pretty awesome to have you guys here every night and to be able to share my love of children's literature and the art that makes them so special and the stories, and to have you guys appreciate it, and hopefully it gives you some inspiration. Oh, and before we go though, I'll go back here, see if I can go back to this and have it pause. This is a picture of a pig that I took at my daughter's farm a few years ago, and I took it into Pixma and did that kind of a mosaic type aspect to it to give it a little bit of a Pigasso type thing. And then this one is, I didn't have a bull, so I had to go with a bison. This was the original photo of bison. And I did the same thing in Pixma, but used a different kind of a filter on it. So I could do that with that photo. And it's just kind of fun to do. You get different things. I didn't do these in Topaz. I did these in Pixma. Prisma? Hold it. Let me look. Prisma, Prisma. It's an app. I don't pay for the paid version. They have a different filter that they can have every day, but they have some free filters, and I just go with those if I want one. So that's what I have to do. And I have one other thing to share, and that is one last thing. Can you see that? Isn't she just the cutest little thing in the whole bugaboo world? That's my granddaughter. My son-in-law sent that to me. That's little Rory. She is almost 9 months. Yep. And laughing. And oh, I wish you could see this one in the blue. It's really cool. The sky. They're sitting there on the hill, and then there's all three of them. McLean, Rook, the wild Rookus, and Rory. But yeah, that's the little munchkin. Had to share. Too cute. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for coming to Storytime. Deirdre, thank you for being here. Gloria, Janice, Joanne, Angie, and Julie E. had to run. Let's see. Did I miss anybody? Who else here? I know Sammy's doing a live right now himself. We just got done with our whole 3-day thing that we were on, so it's been a lot. And I'm looking for, I took a just update, took another COVID test today, and we shipped them in. It's been over 10 days, but checking them in, we should be pretty good by now. Yeah. So fingers crossed, everything's good. You guys, you make my nights. Thank you so much for being here. It's truly an honor to share these with you and to have you let me come into your home, into your living room, and for you guys to come join me in my studio. I appreciate it. Take care. Look for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's all around you, and it's inside you. So until the next time, bye. Keep it real.